Your mic is so quiet. There we go.
Tell me how bad does it feel?
Well, guys, welcome back to All Things Football. That is going to be a short intro because we just need to get straight into this. As you can tell by the title, Ibs is Ole out. I am Ole out now. I have seen the light. I have converted. I feel like I've taken up a new religion because I wasn't able to watch the full Manchester United versus Leicester game, or Leicester versus Man United, however you want to say it. But the results, the performance, the player ratings, the general feel of me, which I feel as an Ole outer is the most important thing. I've gone from someone who, under Mourinho, we might lose this game, to under Solskjaer, we're actually going to win every game. Now I'm slowly creeping back into, I don't think we're going to win this game, and that's not a position that I want to be in, and that is why I'm now an Ole outer. I know Ibs has been one for a while, and I know he's happy that I've joined him now. And
I shouldn't even be happy. It's not something to celebrate.
It's not something
be
to
in this
celebrate.
position in the first place.
But
yeah, that's why we're here today to talk about it, because it's happened.
We're gonna be talking about.
Good evening, Big Ron. Well, I'm good. I don't know about you, Anton. We're good nonetheless.
I mean, I'm always in a good mood. I always try and stay positive and happy, but in terms of Manchester United, I'm not happy. In terms of general life, I'm still not happy because I was meant to go cinema later, but I'm not doing that anymore. But
yeah, how about you, Big Ron? Hope you're good.
Oh, we love Big Ron. But we're going to be talking about a few things today. First, which I think the first thing I think we should talk about is why we are Ole out, because it's all fun and games saying Ole out, Ole in, but without reasonable backup and explanation, it's just an invalid point. So I'm going to let Ibs take the floor here.
So let's cast our minds back to, I don't even know, last season. Was it last season or 2 seasons ago? But it was basically, he's basically redeemed himself many times. So there'll be spells where we're going through a bad patch of games, losing games, dropping points. But then suddenly it changes and we start playing well. So right there, on Twitter this week, red flags have been trending. So right there, that was a red flag, in my opinion. Seeing those bad things happen, and then suddenly good things happen. But the cracks is still there. That's one thing I'll say. And then the following season, we do great. I'm talking about last season. We do great. We come second in the league. Despite not playing the best football, but we still come second. We get to the Europa League final, but then we lose.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm in 2 minds thinking, oh, okay, we got to the final. We came second, but still we didn't win any trophy. So that's like another red flag. And then I'm still seeing this season, the start of the season, with signs better players, so there's no excuse there. But I'm seeing the same way we play. I'm seeing it again. I'm seeing the same problems that I saw last season, or the season where we're playing behind closed doors, where Martial was top scorer, where it's not the best football, but we're still grinding out results. I don't get it. And this is why I'm Ole out, because he'll get my hopes up and then it's crushed immediately, and it's been too repetitive. I don't know why we can't improve, or we have improved, but I don't know why we can't, for example, win trophies or get across the line. There's literally things it seems so simple from the outside that he needs to fix, but
yeah,
he doesn't have the capacity, he doesn't have the people around him. And I feel like he stayed at this job too long. He's done what he needs to do. He's an ex-player who has brought back positive things to the club, but then he needed to hand it over, the baton, to someone else who has a better CV than himself. He can't take on this role. But I believe that's why I'm out.
I mean, I think that's a very, very good explanation. And whether or not the people watching don't think it's a good explanation, it's enough for Ibs to stay Ole out. And I think we should put a little disclaimer in here. We're Ole out, but at the same time, I want him to succeed. I want him to turn it around, and I want him to actually deliver the goods.
I think this is the problem, because where people say we want him to succeed, and it's this thing that many pundits, ex-players, ex-Man U players are saying because they're trying to defend him because he's their friend, saying they
Yeah.
want him to succeed. But what they should be saying is that he's not the man for the job. Just say it. He's not the man for the job. Let's get a new person in. Us as fans, we can say we want him to succeed. I don't know. I'm not saying I want him to fail, but I want him to leave. He's not succeeding at this club. He just needs to leave. Okay, what do you mean by you want him to succeed?
Well, first I'm going to address Ron's comment. You have to tell me which video it is, because
We need to.
I don't
see
know
this video.
who Big Ron is.
I know this video. I think I saw this video come up on United Stands vlog.
I haven't watched it yet, to be fair.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
I don't usually watch them after losses. It's quite depressing. But what I mean by we want Ole to succeed is it could be anyone. It could be Ryan Giggs in post when he was there. It could have been David Moyes. I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm not a fan of the manager. I'm not a fan of Pogba. I'm not a fan of Wan-Bissaka in terms of if Pogba left, I wouldn't go and follow and support his club. I'm a fan of Manchester United. Whoever's in post and whoever's in the hot seat, I want them to win. Manchester United is a club that's built on winning trophies. It's built on dominating Europe and dominating the Premier League. We have a rich history in every competition that we're in. Manchester City have a rich history in the League Cup because they dominate it. Chelsea and Arsenal have a rich history in the Premier League, not so much Europe. Well, Chelsea more so now. But if you know what I'm trying to say, we dominate world football. So whoever's in the managerial position, I want them to succeed. And by succeed, I mean we want to win the Premier League. We want to win the FA Cup, the Champions League, anything that we're in. Not just go into a season thinking, if we win the Carabao Cup this year, at least we get a trophy and that's a good start. That's really not good enough for Manchester United. You could have Ole in charge. You could have Michael Carrick in the hot seat. It doesn't matter who it is. I want them to succeed. So it doesn't matter that it's Ole, but obviously I do want him to succeed because he's my manager. He's my manager for now. Unfortunately, I'm at a point now where I don't think he's the one that can actually take us forward because he's had more than enough time. In modern football, the time that he's been here, I think it's almost 3 years now, he's had way more time than a lot of other people would be given. If he was a manager of Chelsea, he would have been gone a long time ago. Same with City, same with Liverpool. These clubs are the clubs that we're competing with, and these clubs are the clubs that are setting the standards at the moment. We're trying to get to those standards, but we can't because we have incompetent owners and we have a manager who's not capable of delivering the goods on a regular enough basis. Because it's all good, yeah, when he came in, we won 10 games on the bounce. When we won 10 games on the bounce or something, then he got a permanent deal. Because let's not forget, he wasn't brought in to become the full-time manager. He was brought in to steady the ship whilst we looked for another manager because Mourinho was sacked. But it just so happens that because the team performed so well, his tactics, which for whatever reason he stopped using after he got the full-time job, worked. And then we were kind of left in a position where you had to give him the contract because we can't lie here. It was fun watching Manchester United. We were tearing teams apart. That magical night in Paris. All of those things mean that he was given a contract.
Yeah, he deserved the contract. And everything that he's done so far to bring back the positivity in the club. People talk about the man management that he's supposedly done.
Yeah.
Those are all positive things. But when it comes to the performances on the pitch, I feel like he himself needs to move on because he knows he doesn't have the tools to take the squad any further. I don't believe he has the tools to do that. And he himself should know that. And that's why I feel like he's not going to leave by himself. He has to be sacked. That's the problem. He's not just going to leave because he's signed a new contract. If you've just signed a new contract, you're not going to leave the contract and be unemployed. You're going to stay and he's getting paid. So it's his dream job at the end of the day. So it's a hard one because what I would say is that he should just leave rather than being sacked. And he's a legend of the club. And to sack a legend of the club is even worse. But he's not going to leave because he's within a contract. You're not allowed to just leave unless it's mutual consent, like both parties agree. But that's not going to happen. The Glazers love having Ole because he's their puppet. He does what the Glazers want him to do.
I think there's so many things. We'll go to the comments and then I'll carry on saying what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But yeah, I've just seen a thumbnail for the video run. I'm gonna watch it as soon as this finishes. He's tried his best, but he's just not the guy to take you where you need to be, especially with the squad you have right now. So I'm guessing this guy isn't a Manchester United fan. So it's nice to see a point of view from the outside, which isn't keep him in because he's rubbish. It's you're spot on. He's taken us as far as he can take us, and that's okay. That's actually okay, because it's the same with players and the same with managers. People will say, "Oh, you can just get players from a youth academy and train them up." If that was the case, there would be no transfers. There would be none of that. No club switching, because then everyone would have the same ceiling. Everyone would have the same potential. If you bring in Klopp to Liverpool, you saw the potential and you saw what he could do at Borussia Dortmund, and he's gone and done it at Liverpool. He won them the Premier League, for their first Premier League, and won them the Champions League. That was magical. That was amazing. I was in Liverpool at the time, and you could feel it. You could feel the city on the up. When I got there, football was dead. You just had a normal city, but they won a Premier League. It was bouncing for months. Then they won the Champions League again, bouncing for months. And I just feel like with Klopp, as an example at Liverpool, they saw the potential. His ceiling was ridiculously high, and he's delivered. If anything, he's exceeded his potential. With Ole, there was no ceiling. You didn't bring Ole in as a full-time manager. No one knew what to expect, and I feel like he's a manager now that he's kind of taken us as far as he can, and he's trying to learn fast. And when you're learning, you do things, you try things out, and they're not working. But he's doing it a bit too often now, and it's just backfiring massively, because there might be a time where he's been trying things in the past, and it's worked, and it's gone like massively in his favor. And that's when we're like, oh yeah, maybe Ole might be the guy to take us to a championship in terms of the Premier League or Champions League. But now he's trying things again, and they're not working. And it's just it's so clear to see in my eyes.
Do you know what? Whilst you were speaking, whilst you talking about Ole, and what Premier League club does he get into?
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
If you're talking about a good Premier League club, he doesn't.
No, even bottom 5 clubs, he doesn't get into any.
No, we can't. He does get into a Premier League club. There would obviously a club like Norwich would take him. They would snap him up in a heartbeat, because look what he did when he came to Manchester United. He steadied the ship and actually took us to a higher place than we've been in a very long time. If we're talking about Premier League clubs that we care about and that we are actually in competition with, he wouldn't get into the tops. He wouldn't get into a top half side. Maybe if you're looking at Newcastle because of what they're doing, he might. No. Obviously, he's not going to go there, but he might be in a position where you can't go. It's just, as I said, players and managers, I think, are all in the same. You cannot, as a Newcastle owner, you could go and get a Zidane. He's a tier 1 manager. He's the elite of the elite. Same with Klopp, same with Guardiola. You cannot go and get, as Newcastle, Zidane. You have to start a bit lower, but go with someone that has experience in the league, which Ole does. Can't deny that. He has experience in getting us to a improved place. He's done that. He's taken us into Europe. He's done that. He's steadied the ship. He's done that. He's done all of these things. And that's what Newcastle need. They're in a weird place at the moment. They've had owners who just honestly did not care. He was using it basically as a pay pig. It reminds you of the Glazers. They had Mike Ashley and he's gone. Now they've got money, but you cannot go and get the best of the best right now. You have to work towards a position where you can go and get the best of the best. Because, yeah, money talks, but Newcastle isn't really going to be appealing to Zidane. It's not going to be appealing to Mbappe. Maybe in 3 or 4 years, but for the time being, you need someone like Ole who has that experience, who's taken... because remember when he came, he didn't have the best players. He bought players to make the team better, but he didn't have the best players when he started. And I think that would be good for Newcastle. But as in terms of, gosh, he wouldn't get into obviously any top 6 sides.
Even I'm saying top 10. He's not getting to any top 10.
I'm just trying to think of the top 10 sides. Look,
Leeds, Arsenal, Man U, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Everton, West Ham. He's not getting to any of those clubs. I'm telling you, he's not. No club, none of the top 10 clubs would take him in their team, and that says something.
I think maybe if Bielsa wasn't at Leeds, they would take him, because he is Bielsa is just a weird type of manager. He doesn't play the same football as Ole, and that's what Leeds fans are used to now. But I get what you're saying, and you're not wrong.
And he spoke about he steadied the ship.
Yeah,
And Big Ron asked, "Do you think we're going backwards?" And
yeah,
we're definitely going backwards, despite having a great transfer window, one of the best transfer windows
ever
in for us and in Europe. Across Europe, we've had one of the best alongside PSG, I would say. But
Yeah,
how I don't understand how can a manager take us backwards despite having a transfer window like we've had?
because there's only so far you can go.
Because yeah, it goes back to he has the best resources there, but he doesn't have the tools to use the resources. Right now he has what 11 PS5s, but he has no TV. It's pointless. He can't use it. He doesn't know how to use the players. He's trying to plug the PS5 into the oven. It doesn't work because he just can't do it. He hasn't got the skill set, the tools, the coaches. McKenna, I don't know what's the other defensive
McKenna,
coach.
Phelan, Eric Ramsey, Michael
Ramsey.
Carrick, Darren Fletcher.
I think we should go on to the Leicester game because defensively, everything was poor, pressing poor, everything. Any team can just pass. If a team can pass the ball and keep the ball, 100% they'll get to our box within 10 seconds.
Yeah,
if they play it fast. And that's exactly the time it took between our second goal to make it 2-2 and Leicester scoring their third goal. Like 10 seconds after the restart, Vardy scored to make it 3-2. Yeah, Ollie's not going anywhere. That's the problem.
yeah. I have something to say about this. A couple more things. Ron's right. I can't see Ollie going anywhere as well, and that's what I think the main conflict is between Ollie and Ollie out people, which causes all the commotion and arguments within the fan base. We have owners here who over the period of their ownership have, I think, consciously lowered the level of expectation. With Sir Alex Ferguson, it was, we're not going to give you this much money. We're going to kind of do what we want to do and take money out of the club, increase our pockets and not do anything about the debt. But Sir Alex Ferguson was the best. He could win the Premier League with 11 slices of bread. It just was a thing. So I don't think people could see it, or a lot less people were able to see what the Glazers were doing. But when Sir Alex Ferguson leaves, they don't change the way they run the club. All that happens is that we stop winning because we have David Moyes. And then they think, this is Manchester United. The fans are going to start noticing. So we actually kind of have to do something. We're going to bring in Louis van Gaal, who's won everywhere he's gone. Didn't go so well. We won the FA Cup, which was nice. First time we won it in, I think it was since 2004. And the expectations were a bit lower because everyone, that was enough at that point. It was definitely enough for me because I hadn't seen a trophy in how many years. And then when it didn't go so well, he was gone. Then we got in Mourinho. Expectations are low. You bring someone in who's going to win you something. And we did. We just want to, at this point, we just want to win the Premier League, but we go and win the Europa League. Again, that's enough for me because my expectations are lower.
Lower, exactly.
And this is what they're doing. This is the expectations now were so far on the floor. If they get rid of Ollie, they now have to bring last season, Manchester United fans broke into Carrington and they got a game against Liverpool, the biggest game of the season in the Premier League. They got that postponed. That would have put a massive dent in the wallets of the Glazers because you don't get any match day revenue. TV money is you don't get that stuff. So what they've done now is gone into the window and bought Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, and Tom Heaton. If they get rid of
expectations are higher.
Exactly. But they cannot let that happen. They can't let those expectations carry on rising. So if they get rid of Ollie now, they're not going to bring in a manager like Zidane. They're not going to bring in a manager like Ten Hag, Gasperini, Conte. They're not going to do any of that because what those managers will bring you is, I think, guaranteed success. With the squad we have, if you get a manager like that, that's guaranteed success. And the Glazers can't let that happen because then with the success comes the demand for more. Oh, we won the Premier League and we won the Champions League. Ronaldo's going to retire in a couple of years. We have to go and get Haaland. Do you know what I mean? When Pogba was going, we won the Premier League and Champions League. We have to go and get the next best thing. It's not going to happen. The Glazers aren't going to let that happen. If Solskjaer leaves, for whatever reason, I don't know who they're going to bring in. And to be honest, I don't really want to think about who they're going to bring in because of the way they've run this club and what they've shown us that they're only going to do. We're not getting the best manager. We're not getting. I promise you now, we're not getting Zidane.
People are saying Gareth Southgate. I don't know why I've heard about Gareth Southgate. I don't know why.
Do you know why? Because he's just Ole. It's just the same. It's just Ole 2.0. It's exactly the same. They play the same football. He's a bit of a puppet. He's a bit of a yes man. He's, I genuinely think, one of the most emotionless and soft guys in management that I've seen in a very long time. Imagine Southgate going up against Klopp or Guardiola or Tuchel, just standing there on the side, smiling in the 90th minute when we're 8-0 down. Do you get what I'm saying? That's the type of person the Glazers want to be in charge, because Ole's like a big mattress. Fire any bullets at the Glazers, Ole's there to absorb all the bullets. He doesn't. He's not. It's frustrating, but I know I've been talking for a long time. But I got one more thing to say about he's only taken us so far. Once you get so far, and think about it like this, you've just run 5K and you're posting your best times. If you carry on doing that every single day, 2 times, you get gradual and slow, you're tired. You've got no new ideas. That's what Ole's done. He took us so far, and that was his ceiling. And I think if you're a Manchester United fan, I'm talking about Ole now. If you're a Manchester United fan, you love the club, you have to look at yourself and think, what else can I do now? Be honest with yourself, Ole. What else can you do now to bring us higher up the table and actually give us a genuine trophy? I don't want a community shield.
He's probably thinking right now. I know what Ole's thinking right now. He's thinking, it's because Fred wasn't here. That's why we lost the game.
Trust me.
He's going to play McFred on Wednesday against Atalanta.
And we're going to win. And we're going to win. It's at Old Trafford.
Exactly. That's what's going to happen. And we'll win the game. And then he's going to be questioned by the media like, oh, well done for turning it around. Da, da, da. And then Ole's like, yeah, the players worked hard today. We had strong midfield, things like that. And it's just gonna keep going on. Then we play Liverpool on Sunday. But yeah, before we get into that, I'm just gonna go through the comments. Who do you guys want as a replacement? To be honest, I don't know about managers like that. I'm not sure about you, Anton.
I know about the ones that I like. I like Zidane, and I like Erik ten Hag, and I like Gasperini from Atalanta. I've said this so many times. Either one of them three would be amazing. I want Zidane, but I know we're not going to get him because of what I just said. You bring Zidane in, you win everything. With that squad, you win everything. Expectations are up, and the Glazers don't want that. They just want the money. They don't care if we finish second or fourth. We're just Champions League matters to them. So ideally, I'd want Erik ten Hag. I like the way he's playing football at Ajax. They score a lot of goals. They're exciting. And he knows how to use players and actually develop them to a point where they're world class. De Ligt, De Jong, Donny van de Beek. He took Dusan Tadic from Southampton and had him running rings around Madrid at the Bernabeu. I mean, that's the type of football and managerial expertise that I want. Imagine look at what he done to Dusan Tadic. He could do that with. He could take Rashford to a whole different level. Donny van de Beek's going to be getting game time. We might see a couple of players leave, surprisingly. Like, you might see Wan-Bissaka leave. You might see, hopefully, a Fred leave. You might see Matic. The Deadwood would be gone. And with Erik ten Hag comes, I think, pure football knowledge. You have someone there who's a student of the game. I couldn't tell you much about his backstory because I don't really know it, but all I know is that he plays amazing football at Ajax.
He's won stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's won stuff, but that's the thing. It's a Dutch league. You're going to win stuff with Ajax.
That's why
you can't not.
Based on what I know, what I've seen with Zidane, obviously he's won trophies, so he's probably the choice who I'd go for. But I don't really know much. I haven't seen much of the way they play, but I just know he's won trophies, so he's obviously one of the obvious choices for any United fan who just wants success right now, because we know we deserve the success with the team we have. The team we have really deserves to win trophies, but obviously trophies aren't deserved; they're earned. You have to earn the right to win games.
Yeah,
and right now we're just not earning the right to win any game because of the way we play.
Yeah, and then Gasperini as well. I think it's the same as Eric Ten Hag for me. They score a lot of goals. Look, Atalanta, they don't win the Serie A, but they're always up there with the top scorers. They score a lot of goals. They're entertaining team to watch, and you'll see when we play them in the next few games of the Champions League what sort of a manager he is. I think if you're not too sure about him, now's the perfect time to find out, because we will be playing him. We'll be hosting him on Wednesday and then going to Italy in a couple of weeks. So I think now is the perfect time. But yeah, number one for me is Ten Hag. Then it'll be Zidane. Then it'll be Gasperini.
So yeah, let's actually start how we do United talk all the time. The lineups yesterday against Leicester. The key talking point is Harry Maguire, a guy who literally just had, was it calf injury? And we all knew it that Ole is going to end up starting him. We didn't want it to happen, but we just knew Ole is going to do that because that's what he does. Why he didn't start, I don't know, but he decides to rush Maguire into the starting lineup, probably because it's against Leicester's old club. That's what he usually does. He did it with Dan James of Leeds, but he's rushed him back. And not just Maguire, but Maguire had a really bad performance. Terrible performance. And it had me questioning whether the 80 million we paid hasn't paid off at all yet. I haven't seen it pay off because he'll be good for a few weeks, but it's never been very consistent. I don't think there's been a consistent run. Just when he plays for England, he plays very well and it's consistent. But for us, I haven't seen it yet. And maybe yesterday you can say because he's just come back from injury, he's been rushed into playing, barely trained with the team. But then that's down to Ole. Ole's the one choosing him. Yes, Maguire made mistakes. Maybe De Gea was at fault for not putting enough power in the pass, but still Maguire took too long on the ball.
That's not De Gea's fault at all. Why, as a professional footballer, are you waiting for the ball to come to you, knowing you're getting closed down and knowing you're effectively the last man? Not sure what Maguire was thinking. I can't think about what he's thinking in his head, because it's not even like he's waiting for the ball to come to him and then he is just going to lump it forward. He tried to beat the man with less than a yard of space. You have to come to the ball. And that's just match sharpness. Look, I know he's only been out for a little bit, but still, you go gym, right? You know, when you get a good run in the gym, you're going for a month or two, and then you don't go for about 4 or 5 days, and you find it difficult to get back into it. It's the same as playing football. You play every single match, and then you don't play a few matches. Your body's not fully ready again. You have to ease your way back in. He was in training for 1 day. It's not even like he had a week of training and then gone into the match. It was a 1 day worth of training. And the training before the day of the match anyway isn't the most intense. It's not a proper training session, if you want to say it like that. It's more relaxed, it's easier.
Tactical.
So if anything, he's probably had a couple of hours of training before the match. It's ridiculous.
And people are going to probably say, okay, we're going on to Maguire. This is the player's fault. The reason Maguire's in the team is because of Ole. Ole's the manager. He's the one picking the team.
Yeah.
So, okay, back for Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka on the left and right back. And then Matic and Pogba. So, I was thinking, that's good. Matic and Pogba, that's what we want to see. Pogba in midfield.
Yeah.
He just won the Nations League trophy with France playing midfield. And then we have, obviously, Bruno, Sancho, Greenwood, and Ronaldo. And obviously, people probably wanted Rashford to start left wing and Sancho on the right. But Greenwood scored a fantastic goal, so we can't say much about that. That's why Ole chooses him, because he knows Greenwood is going to score goals. And that's the only reason why Greenwood plays, just because he's going to score goals.
Yeah.
Greenwood's not going to create chances, but he's going to score goals. So the game starts, Greenwood scores out of nothing. There was literally nothing. There was no service to Ronaldo that first half. It was just Greenwood who just decided to have a shot and it went in. And then obviously Tielemans lobs De Gea, and we're going at 1-1 half time. At that point, I stopped watching the game. It was not until match of the day I saw the rest of the game. But second half, I think the midfielders exposed. Pogba and Matic are exposed in midfield. Just playing, this is the midfield. They've got the 4 across midfield. The ball's just going straight through players like that, just going through. I just don't get. There's no press. There's the way Leicester are pressing us. That was their game plan. What was our game plan?
Can I cut you off and ask you a question quick, and then we'll,
Yeah.
after you finish talking, we'll respond to Big Ron's comment. Do you think, because this happens in football, players start to turn against the manager, and the performance of the players just looks a little bit suspect? Do you think this is happening?
Yeah, I think it's very evident with some of the players' body language, comments after the game, particularly Paul Pogba, who was saying something along the lines of they don't know, or what did he say? He said something along the lines of tactics, things like that. There's clear frustration. Ronaldo was going to walk off after the game. Ole told him to go and clap the fans, the away fans for coming. There's clearly, I think ever since Ronaldo's come in, is when the players are starting to express their own feelings.
But you know why? I think you know why that is.
What do you mean?
Because you've got Mr. Most Successful Person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now Ronaldo's in the dressing room. Now the other players are expressing their views or their feelings. Before, I don't think anyone else in that dressing room was brave enough to be the person that Ronaldo is and show their feelings. They were silenced in a way.
But that's now, that's because there wasn't many winners in there.
Yeah, but now Ronaldo's here. He's a winner. He would accept losing, and now obviously everyone else is just gonna be the same way.
Yeah.
No Dan James yesterday, no Fred yesterday, no McFred yesterday. Maguire was bad. Having the hair side, the others were very, very poor in United shirt. Yeah, there was no Dan James. We missed him. We missed those runs in behind. No Freds. Yeah, we missed the poor touches. Let's not forget he was a reason why we conceded in the FA Cup to Leicester last season. And Maguire, David De Gea. David De Gea had a great game, to be honest.
He's been our best player this season.
Yeah, he's been our best player this season. And when we say he's been our best player, it means we're being very bad defensively.
Do you know what this reminds me of? All those years we were struggling, De Gea was the one man that was keeping us in the top four, keeping us in challenging for trophies. It's almost like when the rest of the team starts to falter, he steps up. If that's an indication as to what's going on, that has to be it. That has to let people see the light. This club is going backwards, like it was just said, and De Gea is stepping up because he has to. Because, I mean, if De Gea is not pulling off these world-class saves, then we're going to be getting slapped every single match. A few years ago, we're seeing De Gea 2 or 3 world-class saves a game, and we're honestly going back to that. It's scary, nice to see, because it at the same point, I mean, for one, it shows everyone that De Gea still is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But it's not so nice because all it shows is that we are not defending as a unit. The tactics are not just, they're just not there. I will say now, I was actually like playing football myself, so I was only able to catch the last little bit of the game from when Rashford scored, and that then on. So I can't say too much on yesterday's performance, but Big Ron's also said thoughts on Mr. Sancho. I can't give my thoughts because I didn't see.
Sancho, what I'll say is that we're not playing to his strengths. We're not playing to anyone's strengths in this team, and this goes back down to Ole. We can give criticism to the players, but I feel like most of it has to go down to Ole, because we're not playing in a way where we're getting the best out of the players we have.
Yeah.
Yes, we might be getting the best out of Greenwood, but we can't just get the best out of one player. Maybe Greenwood goes on the bench and then we get the best out of 7 players rather than getting the best out of 1 player or 2 players. If you play Sancho, top assists in Europe across the past 2 seasons, playing on the right. Rashford, one of the best left wings. Okay, he's just come back. Maybe we'll see it in a few games' time, him starting on the left. But Sancho, you want to get the best out of him, play him on the right. Ronaldo, if you want to get the best out of Ronaldo, get the ball in the box. He can get the ball in the box by having Sancho on the right. We haven't seen that yet because Sancho hasn't played on the right yet, so we don't know if it will work. But it most likely will work because we'll get more crosses into the box.
And
Ronaldo thrives off that.
you're saying this so simply, and it makes so much sense because it's basic common sense, basic football knowledge. So why isn't it being done? And this is what I mean. I think Ollie's a weird person because it's almost like he's always trying to. I could say to Ollie, "Oh, why isn't Wan-Bissaka playing defensive midfield? Surely he'd be good there." Knowing in the back of my mind, oh, he's a better right back. He's never going to be good in defensive mid. But then Ollie will think about that and be like, I just want to prove that guy wrong. Let me play Wan-Bissaka defensive midfield. It's almost like he's trying to be too quirky. Why you don't fix what's not broken? Sancho, as you said, one of the highest. I think it was either equal or only bettered by Messi, and effectively that's saying you have the highest stat because Messi's on it. He's a different species. We know this. So Sancho's produced some of the best numbers in Europe as a teenager over the past 3 seasons. Why are we playing him on the left when, yes, he plays a few games there and he gets a few numbers there, but that's just because he's a very good player. You play him on the right where he's been playing, where he's best, where he's able to fully showcase his skill set and provide for the rest of the team. You got Rashford. I believe he would have been fit enough to start. If he's too tired, bring him off in the 65th, 70th minute.
If you're on the bench, you're fit enough to play.
Exactly. He comes on and scores. Good. That's what Rashford's capable of, and that's why he will start on the left against Atalanta. Obviously, I'm happy for Greenwood. I know that he's a very good player and he's one of our best youngsters, probably our best youngster. But look, if you're gonna play him on the right, Ronaldo's not going to get service, first of all. And that means that we're not going to get as more goals. Because let's be real. Ronaldo is a better finisher than Greenwood. He's more clinical. I'd rather have Ronaldo shooting the ball than Greenwood. And that's just it. I think if you have Ronaldo in the team, if you're going to put a winger on that is not creative by nature, Rashford, then you have to have someone who is creative on the other side.
Balance.
Sancho. Yeah,
but Sancho needs to be on the right, not on the left.
And now that Rashford's back, it's gonna look. Now that Rashford is back, it should happen. If it doesn't happen, then something is really, really wrong. Something's wrong up there with Ollie. Rashford on the left, Ronaldo up front, and Sancho on the right. That's the basic. That's just basic footballing. As a manager, you shouldn't even be talking about, ball. But the fact that we're having to even discuss whether Ollie knows ball is quite worrying. Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, and Ronaldo up front. Obviously, you have Bruno in behind, effectively as a second striker. Then you have the two in the middle, which will probably be McFred, if we're honest.
And it means Pogba's on the bench. And I think the Pogba thing being on the bench, yes, we want to see him on the pitch, but at the same time, over the last few years, we haven't seen, he's never been utilized in his best position. And now Bruno's come in, Bruno cemented his spot. So I guess that number 10 role is between Bruno and Pogba, but Pogba's not going to take that role off Bruno. That's the problem.
You see, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think Pogba's never been a number 10.
Yeah, he's not a number 10. But then, as we're trying to say, how can we fit everyone and play to everyone's strengths?
It's not even playing to everyone's strength. Pogba's being a player that's played in a 2 or a 3. Playing him on the left is ridiculous. For France, when they won the World Cup, you had Matuidi on the left, but you had Pogba next to Kante, which would go into a midfield 3. So then you have Pogba in a 3 or a 2 or a double. Like, it's not difficult. It's really not difficult to put Pogba in this team. The fact you have to think, how am I going to fit Pogba in this team is stupid if you're playing McFred. That's McTominay and Fred. If you're playing those two and you're thinking, how am I going to get Pogba in this team? There's something very, very wrong. Pogba is one of the most naturally gifted footballers in the Premier League, one of the most naturally gifted footballers in Europe, one of the best in his position in the world, and you're telling me McFred getting ahead of him. That's not right. It's not right.
But yeah, going back to the Greenwood thing, Greenwood is still he's 20 years old. If it means he's on and off, like between the bench and the starting 11 for the next year or 2 years, whilst he learns from Ronaldo, who is the striker, and Greenwood is aspiring to be the main striker for Man United, it means playing that role. that's what you have to do for the team. And Sancho starts on the right. Okay, if it doesn't work, Sancho comes off and then Greenwood comes on the right, and Ronaldo's still up front. Well, it can work out if that's happening in the second half or something. But right now, Greenwood, yes, he's one of the best finishers in our club. But when you have the best player in the world in your club, you play to his strengths. You play to Bruno's strengths. You play to Pogba's strengths. You play to Rashford, Sancho. Obviously, as Big Ron says, you can't play to everyone's strengths. You can't. But if you can play to the strengths of Ronaldo, Sancho, who's going to deliver the ball to Ronaldo, and Bruno and Pogba, if you have that core in your team and you play to those players' strengths, I think that's how you win. That's how you win games. Or even if you're not playing to necessarily to their strengths, you're playing in a system that everyone knows how to play, like Man City. Man City, they don't necessarily play to someone's strengths. They play in a system that works, and whoever plays in that system plays well, and they win games. But we don't have the managerial, we don't have the manager to do that, or the coaches to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the saw this comment. Yeah,
It is
Brooks,
terrible news.
Yeah, pray that he gets better. And what do you think of Pogba and Matic in the pivot? Because McFred looked best in the pivot. Estevao and Didi bullied and bossed those two yesterday.
Look, I saw this and I already have my response cooking in my head. Pogba and Matic are better than McFred in the pivot, but Pogba and Matic rarely get played as a partnership in a pivot. Centre-back partnerships, striker partnerships, midfield partnerships. If you're playing in a partnership, look, every position on the football pitch, you have someone who is your partner that you build a relationship with. You got Luke Shaw and Rashford. You got Maguire and Varane who will need to build that. You've got McFred. Every position, you have someone there who you rely on, who you can trust, who you have to build that relationship with. Pogba and Matic never get the opportunity to because have they done that 2 matches in a row? I can't think of a time they have. McFred are trash. And we know that because whenever they play, apart from 1 or 2 matches in every 10, we say, why are they playing? Terrible everywhere. It's only because we're so used to seeing them in that position, we've become accustomed to almost accepting their terrible performances and waiting for the big one.
We shouldn't accept, as you said early in the show, we've lowered our standards.
Yeah.
We've lowered our expectations, and this is what we mean by we're saying that McFred should be playing, because we've lowered our standards and expectations, where we should know Pogba is a better player. Why can't we find a way to get the best out of him? But what we do is resort to McFred. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Maybe let's just play McFred. That's basically what he's saying. I don't know how to do it. Play McFred, because at least I know, just tell them to run around and win the ball.
Yeah, and with McFred, you have a partnership. They know what they're going to do. You know what you're going to get from Fred. Even though it's not good, you know what you're going to get. There's no surprises. And if it's a surprise, it's a good surprise because they had a good game. McTominay knows what Fred is going to be doing, so he knows what he can do, and vice versa. Doesn't mean it's good. Matic is a specialist CDM. He's the best defensive midfielder we have. And Pogba is the best midfielder that we have, and he's probably the best in the Premier League. Behind De Bruyne, if you want to say it like that. But they don't have the opportunity to build a rapport between each other on the pitch. So you might have an opportunity or two where they're in the wrong position because one week Pogba might be playing with Fred, who might be in that position, and he doesn't have to think about it. But now he has Matic, but Matic can't get there or whatever. So it's those things. Look, we all play football. We understand what it's like when you're playing with someone new. The other day I had to ask what's his name because I've never played with him before. And I was playing balls and he wasn't there, but the other person I usually play with is there. It's a mental thing. You have muscle memories. When you get the ball on the half turn, you think, oh, he's going to be there, so I can just lift up my head quick and play it. But now Matic is there instead of McTominay or Fred in terms of Pogba. Matic isn't there. You lose the ball, you give away the ball, which is what happened a couple of times in the match. And that's why McFred is better than Pogba and Matic, even though they're really, really not. They just have to be given the correct, even if it's just 4 or 5 games, they're at a high enough level where that is enough. Just 4 or 5 games in a row. where they can understand each other better on the pitch, because training is different than a match. Doesn't matter how many people say train like you're playing, it's different than a match. Different intensity, different environment, different pressures, different responsibilities. It's way different. So they need to be given actual match time to build a relationship together. But we don't know the contract situation. So maybe Ole doesn't want to go there. Maybe Ole is avoiding that because it's not going to be like that next season. They might both be leaving. We never know. But McFred were given that opportunity. We had to stick. Look, we think they're bad now when they've had that year and a half of every single match playing together. Remember what they were like when they didn't have that relationship. It was like a poo in your hands and clap. It was awful. It was actually awful. But we're just so used to it, and they've built a little bit of relationship, so we can say, oh yeah, they work well together. But at the same breath, in the same sentence, under the same breath, we're like, they're so bad. Why are they playing? But they work well together. Do you get what I'm saying? It's very sticky situation to be in, because you can't break it up now that you've stuck with it for so long, and it's just like a guaranteed 7 out of 10 effort, but at most you're going to get 6 out of 10 quality and performance. It's quite terrible. It's a terrible position to be in.
As I just said, the team is unbalanced, and with all these tactics, there's always an unbalanced space in between. The only way see them doing good is if they sack Ole and sign Conte.
I can't do Conte. Can't do Conte.
No doubt that some footballers are better than others in terms of skill. There are other characteristics that you need. What happened to being diligent, putting in a tackle, doing the dirty stuff?
That's not. I don't think that. Well, if you're referring to McFred and Pogba and Matic, I don't think any of our players, apart from Wan-Bissaka and maybe Luke Shaw, put in a strong, firm tackle. I don't really. Can you say different, or am I just not seeing stuff?
I haven't seen either.
Is it modern football? Players don't
probably modern football, but still, Wan-Bissaka does it all the time. Luke Shaw does it sometimes. I don't know why we're not seeing it. Maybe footballers are scared to get injured nowadays. Getting a red card is very easy nowadays.
But I was just thinking at the highest level, but then I instantly thought about Liverpool. Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Milner, are just a few of the players that I can just think off the top of my head that will fly into a tackle and win the ball. I'm not talking about flying into a tackle and actually breaking someone in half. I'm talking about committing fully to a tackle and winning the ball and raising the atmosphere in the stadium, doing stuff like that. We don't have players like that apart from Wan-Bissaka. McTominay does it maybe a couple times. Fred does this weird thing where he looks like he's about to pull out and then swings a leg at the ball, but he'll miss it. And I've seen him do that quite a few times. I don't know what it is.
I don't want to talk about Fred.
You laugh at it, but it's dangerous. 2, it looks amateurish. And 3, that's the person that we're relying on to be the ball winner. Yeah, but I've seen him do that a few times, and I've always been confused. But yeah.
The problem is with the board, no one will sack Ole. Top 4 is good enough for the board. And the problem is Ole he won't drop McFred. Yeah, you're spot on, Idris. That's literally the problem. Who was more skillful as a better footballer, Baggio, Del Piero, or Inzaghi? Baggio and Del were so much better footballers, but people scored more goals than them two combined.
Inzaghi was a poacher, man. He was in the box. I'm going to tap it in for 5 yards, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing in any sense of in any stretch of the imagination. But I think it's all going back to McFred and Pogba Matic. I still rather have Pogba Matic. You just have to give them the opportunity to build a relationship, because in a relationship you understand your partner's needs and wants and what they're not good at and what they are good at. It's like a marriage. It's simple.
Speaker was asked who's better, Roy Keane or Pogba in terms of footballing ability. On paper, Pogba. On the pitch is another story, but on the pitch, you can say for France, Pogba is definitely the better player anyway. Just that we haven't seen it for Man U. So on the pitch, you can still say Pogba. Captain, yeah, Keane is a captain. Pogba is not necessarily captain. I'll say Pogba's a leader, but not. He's a leader, definitely in the changing room. You've seen all the images and videos of France, but it just hasn't been translated into his club career at Man United. And why is that so? Is it because he's not being utilized properly by any of the managers that have had him? Is it because he hasn't had the players around him? Maybe now with Ronaldo, it could change. We don't know. Literally don't know.
For, I do need to watch the highlights
Yeah.
because I haven't watched the highlights yet. I only watched the end of the match from about 2 minutes before the Rashford goal to the end of the match. But this is what I mean. If you're saying they're passing through us at will, that's basic stuff. You're playing for Manchester United. That's why I asked Ibs, do you think the players are turning against the manager? Because when you're not, pardon me,
When you're
when
not
you're
doing
not,
the basics, yeah, I get
yeah,
what you mean. When you're not doing the basics, it's a sign that you just don't necessarily care about the
yeah,
manager. You just want to get through the game and just go home. And
and,
I guess
and
that I think it's the case because I saw it start against Everton. That's when I first saw the signs. I was seeing the signs. Martial, for example, not wanting to beat his man when he had the ball. That's a sign of maybe he just doesn't want to be there. What else? Obviously, Ronaldo didn't even start the game. He came on and then he sort of stormed off the pitch at full time. Those are signs. And Ronaldo, cameras are always going to be a Ronaldo. Headlines are always going to be a Ronaldo. Stories are always about Ronaldo. And players have social media. Players read stories. It's not like they just turn off their phone. They'll be scrolling through and they'll be seeing these things. And in their minds, they're thinking, oh, that's actually what I thought. I thought the same as Ronaldo. Why?
yeah,
Let me start being like this as well.
yeah,
And slowly it's going to start creeping through the whole changing room. Even if players don't necessarily talk, obviously players talk to each other, but they don't need to talk because they just know within.
they're
They know
experiencing it.
they can feel it. They know what's going on. So I do believe that things are starting to, the tables being turned right now in the changing room. We just have to wait and see in the next game what happens. I'm telling you, if we lose the next game,
Is that Atalanta or Liverpool you talking
Atalanta.
about? Yeah,
If we lose against Atalanta, or we draw, if we draw or lose, I'm telling you, he will not manage the game against Liverpool. He will actually be gone. I think
no,
he
he
would
won't. He
actually be
just
gone.
won't.
He would be gone
He
when you
won't.
have the pressure of like Ronaldo in your team. If Ronaldo will start, and if we actually lose against Atalanta on Wednesday, there's no way. There's actually no way that Ronaldo can allow it.
No,
Let alone,
he,
I'm saying Ronaldo. Ronaldo can't allow it.
we could lose the next 4 games. Ollie said until Christmas at the very least. I just have to disagree with you there. We don't have competency up there to a high enough level that they will be able to make this sort of decision so early on in the season, because it is early on in the season. It's just October, not even November yet, and they'll be looking at the table. We're a few points off top, 2 wins, and we're there effectively. We're still in the Champions League. We'll win or lose against, draw or lose against Atalanta. His job is safe. Even after the match, articles were coming out, sources from inside the club. He's 100% safe. Those numbers don't look. Even if you're 50% safe, those numbers won't come out unless you're so like locked into that seat. Those numbers don't come out. He's safe, very very safe. We're going to see him for the whole season. We're going to see him. And look, I was going to say this earlier, but I didn't. When Ollie was in temporary charge, like when he first came in, he was fighting for his job because Ollie would have. He's been waiting for that job opportunity, and it came to him at a time where he wouldn't have been expecting it. So he's thinking, "Oh, every match I'm fighting for that contract. I'm fighting for it," and that's why we're seeing elite level football. We're seeing players with freedom. We're seeing good passages of play. We're seeing a lot of goals. The contract comes in, he gets comfy. Results drop off instantly. It's not a surprise that the results dropped off instantly. And it's not a surprise that since then, every single time his job's been on the line, we've seen a different style of football all of a sudden that could have been played 4 months prior. We're seeing results. We're seeing high-scoring games. We're seeing players playing at a level that we haven't seen for ages. We're seeing a different Ollie on the sides. We're not seeing this 1-1 at 90th minute. Ollie's smiling and laughing. We're losing. He's smiling and laughing. We're seeing an animated Ollie even when we're 3-0 up. It's a different manager. when his back's against the wall, when he has to fight for something, we see an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that is putting a different level of commitment into the job. And I know that might be harsh to say because he's in a managerial position that might be the toughest in the world, but you're seeing it with your own eyes. It's different when he's comfortable. Like now, like at the beginning of the season, he was comfortable because look, I just got Sancho, Ronaldo, Varane. I'm probably the manager of the best squad in the best starting 11 in the league, one of the best in Europe. What have I got to worry about? We're getting terrible performances. We're losing against Villa. We're losing against Leicester. We lost against young boys, man. And it was just expected. That's why I wasn't really surprised. And now that his job's on the line, supposedly, I wouldn't be. Look, I fully expect us to get absolutely pantsed by Liverpool.
Yeah,
but at the same
and
time,
that's
if
at
we go
home.
and win, I wouldn't be surprised.
The thing is, it's at home.
Yeah,
If we lose, you're saying that he's going to be here until the end of the season, and I think as you can see in the title, enough's enough. He needs to go. I
but he
believe
does
he
need to
should
go.
be gone. Talking about when should he go? I think he should be gone. I don't even think it's dependent on the results because he can get the results against Atalanta. He can draw against Liverpool. We can beat Spurs. We can beat Atalanta when we go to Italy. We can possibly beat City.
Yeah,
And then he keeps his job. But in my opinion, he should still be gone. But obviously, the Glazers won't look at it in that sense. And you're saying?
I think depending on who you want to come in, that will change when you think he should leave. Because look, I want Ten Hag, as I just said, but I don't think we can go and get him now. I obviously don't know what they're thinking up there. I think they have his job cemented. Don't think he's going to be leaving. Look, I'm Ole out, but I don't want him to leave because I don't like managers changing and changing and changing. But I only say I don't want him to leave because I just want to win. I just want to win a trophy. I don't care who wins the trophy for us.
But he's not going to win a trophy for us. So how can you say you don't want to leave?
Like I'm only out because I've been given enough evidence to show me that he's not capable enough to maintain the level of performances that we see. It's not even like we see a good performance every 10 games or whatever, because we see it way more often than that. We don't lose a lot. Let's be real. We don't lose a lot. We can still win games with terrible performances, but that's a sign of a good team. I just want to be shown by Ole that he can have some consistency in his team selection, in his quality of substitutions, in his style of play, and the fact that some of the stuff he says as well. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'll talk about that at a different time. But some of the stuff he says as well is a bit silly. It's a bit amateurish. But as I said, I don't care who's in charge. I just want to win. So if it's Ole, nice, because he's already here and he's been here. He's built his team because this is his team now. I think you had Luke Shaw, De Gea, Rashford, McFred, Pogba, and Greenwood. But Greenwood was kind of coming up anyway. Those are the players that were there before, but the rest of it is his. He spent a lot of money on this team. If we get rid of him tomorrow, which obviously won't happen, or get rid of him in the next 3 weeks, which I don't think will happen, honestly, who comes in? And not another Ole, a temporary job, because that never really works. It might work for a little bit, but we've been given evidence. Look, Di Matteo, he won the Champions League, then was sacked because he had a terrible start. That's a ruthless club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got us almost in the Champions League, one of the best nights I've seen in Paris. But then after a while, the ship is slowly going down. Interim managers don't usually go on and do a good job. He leaves in 3 weeks. Who do we get? Because who's available? You can't go and get Zidane.
You can.
No, but he said he's taking a break, didn't he?
When Man U comes calling, you have to come.
Yeah, but Zidane is he's an elite manager. He doesn't need Man United. We need him. Yeah. He knows that.
The money will be there, so he will come.
I don't think you can go and get Ten Hag because he's obviously a manager right now. Same with Gasperini. Conte, I don't think we'd get him because Conte is the type of guy. Look, I'm going to use a quote from Mark Goldbridge, which I think is perfect to sum up Antonio Conte. You might be cooking a lovely steak and chips for dinner, but you bring Conte around and he wants to help you a little bit. He would just throw out the whole steak and make some chips in the oven. If Conte comes in, we might never see a few of the better players ever again. He might just try and change the whole thing. I don't think it'll work because he might not be backed like that because none of our managers under the Glazers ever really are, apart from Solskjaer recently, but because of the events that happened last season, I'm talking about the match that got postponed. Do you really want to go 5 at the back? Do you really want to see that at Manchester United? His style of play is not what Manchester United is. And I don't like Italian managers in the Premier League. I don't think they do well for that long. Their style of football just is not made for the Premier League.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oli won't be here to the end of the season. He'll be here to the end of the season at the very least. Phelan got a 3-year contract, same as Carrick and McKenna. Not saying I'm happy at all, just being realistic. Oli needs to get a new first team coach, head coach, a Bielsa, Potter, or something. Someone who can counterbalance his inexperience.
Yeah.
Ancelotti is the man for us. Whether Dan will be back at Madrid once they finish their rebuild.
Yeah.
Ancelotti isn't Ancelotti at Madrid?
Yeah, he's at Madrid. Just got there now.
Ancelotti, I don't believe he's the guy. I just don't know. I just want Oli gone. I just need him gone. We need someone with experience. Obviously, Ancelotti's in a club right now. He wouldn't leave. Zidane, you said he's probably there. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about we've changed our style of play this season, and it hasn't been effective. Last season, we were a counter-attacking team. This season, we're dominating the ball, but we're not using the ball effectively.
Yeah.
And that comes down to coaching because we have the players to do it, but then how are they being told to play? They're not being told to play properly or in the right way. And it's not working. It's just hasn't worked so far this season. But we'll have to wait and see. Next week, Wednesday at home to Atalanta, then Sunday at home to Liverpool. I'm predicting 2-0 win on Wednesday and 3-1, 4-1 loss on Sunday.
4-1.
Yes.
Look, Mourinho was
Salah's the best player in the world.
Look, Mourinho was gone after the Liverpool game.
Yep.
Who knows? But one thing I do know is that there's been absolutely no speculation around like Ole getting sacked or a new manager being spoken to, and Manchester United. To be fair, to give credit to Manchester United, the team sheets don't get leaked anymore. Not a lot of speculation gets leaked.
It's because Ole is a club legend. Ole is a club legend, so they'll never leak news that he's potentially going to be sacked or he's not 100% backed because he is a club legend. So they wouldn't do that against him. But if he were to lose, say we were to lose against Atalanta and then were to lose against Liverpool, he'd be sacked. He would. He would. He would. He actually would. He would. He has to.
That's what a good club would do with competent owners. But you know what we have up there, so.
Let's just see this. Ancelotti wrote an interesting book about his time in football management and spoke about his relationship with various owners at various clubs.
What's the book called?
Probably, I'm not too sure. Ancelotti. Quiet Leadership. That's what it's called. Nice. Quiet Leadership. Oh yeah, thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you for the comments as well.
Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Anton is finally Oli out. But we still love this club. We still want the best for this club. Just get the service to Ronaldo. We have the best player in the world in our team. Just play to his strengths and we'll win everything. We'll win everything. We have the best player in the world. Play to his strengths and we'll win everything. That's all we need to do.
100%.
But yeah, that's been United Talk. Ollie, he's got to go now. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.